Verdict, guilty, signed by the forelady, date 3/2/23.
A jury found former South Carolina lawyer Alex Murdaugh guilty of murdering his wife Maggie and his son Paul at their family hunting estate in 2021. The case attracted national attention.
And he may be taken away.
Included hundreds of pieces of evidence, a jury visit to the crime scene, and testimony from more than 70 witnesses, including Murdaugh himself, who pleaded not guilty to the murder charges.
I am going to testify. I want to testify.
So here's a look back at some of the key moments from the trial and what happens next.
Mr. Griffin, I didn't shoot my wife or my son anytime. Ever.
He's a trial lawyer, right, for more than 25 years, and so he knows how to talk to a jury, and he turned to them and told them his story.
Me and my boys laying face down.
Murdaugh spent hours answering questions from his own lawyers, admitting to the jury that he lied to investigators about his whereabouts on the night of the killings because he was addicted to opioids.
They are dead, aren't they?
Yes, sir. That's what it looks like.
I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't think I was capable of reason. And I lied about being down there.
He also admitted to misleading and stealing money from clients at his law firm. He's been jailed for more than a year on 99 counts primarily related to those charges, and he's pleaded not guilty to most of them. During cross-examination, the state focused on Murdaugh's admitted pattern of lying, seeking to paint him as untrustworthy.
And what happened in this case?
I stole her money.
At times, it was just relentless hours of asking him, well, did you sit across the table from this client and lie to their face? Just like you have lied to many people, with the implication being, are you lying to this jury right now?
The defense argued that the state failed to provide direct evidence, like a confession, eyewitness accounts, or a weapon, proving that Murdaugh murdered his wife and son. Instead, the state relied on circumstantial evidence, including data-related evidence pulled from Murdaugh's car and cell phone.
They just really built a lot of the case on the steps on Alex Murdaugh's phone. What time he drove by the spot where Maggie Murdaugh's phone was found the next day. They had a lot of data-driven testimony that sought to demonstrate that Alex Murdaugh was the person who did these things.
Meanwhile, the defense called out the destruction of the shirt Murdaugh wore on the night of the murders and a poorly investigated crime scene footprint as examples of mistakes made by investigators.
The prosecution has said, yes, we acknowledge the shirt was destroyed. Yes, the footprint was not analyzed as it might have been, but there is absolutely no evidence, no DNA, no fingerprints, no ballistics, nothing that shows that anybody else other than Alex Murdaugh could have been there and committed these horrible acts.
The state needed to prove to the jury that Murdaugh was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
The fact that it is a circumstantial case creates a lot of runway for the defense to bring in areas that might create reasonable doubt in the mind of the jury.
Such as the possibility of two shooters, the fact that Maggie and Paul were killed with two different weapons, which were never recovered, and the angle of the bullet wounds.
They brought in an expert who kind of demonstrated through a presentation where were these shots coming from and how tall would the person have to have been.
Let's say if you put a 5'4" person even, or 5'5", 5'6", in kind of that shooting position from the hip, you've got to move them all the way up to the quail pin. And it doesn't make any sense there because there's no shell casings.
Based on the angles of the bullet entry wounds on Paul's body, the defense team's analysts testified that the shooter couldn't have been taller than 5'2". Murdaugh is more than 6 feet tall. After the jury's verdict, Murdaugh will still face prosecution for the financial crimes he allegedly committed.
It's tricky to know what happens to all those charges because in the course of his testimony, Alex essentially said, yes, I lied and I stole money from these people that wasn't mine, repeatedly. So it's not clear what happens with the prosecution of those charges when he's already essentially confessed from the witness stand.